Hey everybody, looks like we're live and in person here in Georgia. And we just check our trusty little app for the NHL and we see the Bruins and the Blue Jackets are tied 0-0 the first intermission. And you heard it here first. By the time we're done, the Blue Jacks will be up 3-1. All right, so you heard it here first. Yeah, I know some of you guys will be watching this game instead of jumping on board here. That's fine. I can't. I just look, man. As I get older, I can't watch the games. I watch the games of a team I don't like playing, but if there's a team I like playing, I can't watch. I can't take a Columbus freaking Carolina Eastern Conference Championship. That'd be nuts. All right, so let me just make sure. Thumbs up. Hey, there you go. What's up, Barry? Hey, Rob in the house. Right on, man. So Rob has sent me an email, or not an email, on Facebook today, MJC, talking about this guy represent a big farmer, Donald, right on, from Maryland, if memory serves, right, Donald, Maryland? I can't remember. Scott, from right up the way here in Georgia. He got convicted of selling and bribing docs, Cheryl, South Carolina, that's right. Selling in bribing doctors to prescribe his fentanyl laced drug that he was going to get paid on, and I can't remember. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was, but he got fined like $20 million. He's going to jail. 75-year-old guy. I tell you, man, it's nuts out there. It's nuts. And that's what scares me to death when they start saying you need to take all these drugs. I'm like, how do we know this stuff is safe? How do we know? Well, because look, some of you all might be docs and whatnot, but do we really know this stuff is safe? Tim, what's going on, man? I don't know, but it's freaking scary. Jeff in the house. Frank from Old Dominion. Where you at in Virginia, Frank? What part of Virginia you live in? Jeff, our guy with the major aneurysm. He had that surgery done. I'd never posted the picture of that, Jeff, because Bedford, yeah, down by Roanoke. Love it, man. Beth, that's absolutely that Social Security website's one of my favorite ones. Yes, ma'am. I'm a big fan of that. That's a great calculator for sure. Las Vegas, Doug and Carla, right on, and Al from Alaska, right on, man. Steve says from York, PA, right on. Great to see the increasing subscriber count. Hey, thanks, Steve. Appreciate that, Dave. I'm glad you brought up Social Security, though, Beth. I am going to introduce here another aspect of my financial planning offerings. Jim Wales, North Carolina. Jack was Banyu. Jamie from New Hampshire, right on. Chicago, all right. Wisconsin, all right, Wisconsin. Yeah, and Jeff said it too. I think somebody has maybe it was you, Jeff, introduced it to me. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, Beth, that Social Security website. Just for the record, Beth has mentioned a Social Security website, and I'll put a link in the show notes. Or Beth, if you don't mind just putting that website in the as a comment, that'd be helpful for sure. Anyway, so I'm getting another Columbus guy here. What the hell, man? We got two Columbus guys while the game's going on right now, and you can see Bruins and nothing. Neil, right on, man. Neil, you're coming at us from the Roanoke area, if memory serves. Ready from Alabama, right on. Yeah, Bruins. I know, man. Oh, you thought you found it from me? All right, Cleveland, Ohio, CB in Michigan. So we'll get Robert asked a question here. We'll start off with that one. But anyway, real quick. So I'm going to introduce a new Social Security calculator tool that if you want to use, you'll pay me for it. And it'll be like, so I have my $2,500 financial plan, my $500 investment review, or just kind of consultation. Then I'll probably do a third one. I will. A Social Security calculator. I'm looking at the tool here. It's awesome. The Social Security calculator. It is this from Horse's Mouth. When I've been a subscriber to Horse's Mouth for a long time, they got divorce planning calculator, survivor planning calculator, spousal planning calculator, WEP GPO calculator, simple break-even calculator, reinvest break-even calculator, retirement spending calculator. It's freaking awesome. And I'm gonna post that as a service that I provide for $500 I mean, it's I love it. It's literally just use a calculator. Pretty planning. I think you can. Dude, what the hell is going on? All right, Bruce. Let me just type something in here. It's the third time it did me. All right. So hopefully y'all see that. Yeah, National D-Day Monument. That's right, Tim. Absolutely. Bedford. Lots of World War II veterans in Bedford or World War. Okay, cool. Right on. So it looks like I'm back on. I think if you go to SavvySocialSecurity.com, you can buy all their stuff at Horse's Mouth, but it ain't cheap. It's, I don't know, like $500, $700. I don't think it'd be worth it for somebody to do that for sure. Yes, Scott. Yeah, absolutely, man. For this Bright Capital software for $150. Actually, let me talk about that real quick. All right. So Scott asked me if I still offer the Right Capital. I do. I want to point out, I had a guy, nice guy, my man Anthony. He wants to say he's frustrated. He was, hey, how come it doesn't let me change the inflation, and how come it didn't let me change the rate of returns? You can't change inflation because that's the master, and I'm the master. I control the inflation. You don't have access to change inflation. So for anyone pays me $150, you can't change inflation. You can do the inflation on a stress test under the retirement software. If you go to retirement, and then it'll say analysis stress test, and you can change the inflation rate. The inflation rate will be always at 3%, and you can add it to 4% to 5%. It's always going to be a default to 3%. But you can change the inflation rate, but you can't change it other than that stress test area, if that makes sense. So maybe I'll do another video on this, but I just want to be clear. You can't just go and gradually change the inflation. You can't. The inflation is always going to be at 3%. Healthcare inflation will always be at 5%. But if you want to change in terms of the inflation, how it would fit into a relative of your plan, you can change that. You can change, market crash. You can change healthcare expenditures. You can change living longer. You can change taxes going up. You do whatever you want, but you can't change inflation to reflect every single plan. It's just going to be the proposed plan. So you got to kind of go back and forth. I frankly don't have any problem with that. And you can't change the target portfolio. What you can do, again, is you go to retirement, and then under analysis, if you go to the bottom, there's going to be a thing you can click, and there's going to be these slider bars underneath. It's kind of, so you're going to have the two graphs, the two charts that say 100% success or 80% success, whatever. And underneath that, it'll say detailed analysis or something like that. You click on that, and then it's going to give you a slider bar back and forth where you can change your rate of return. You'll have drop down bars where you can change rate of returns in terms of, it'll say, instead of being target, or instead of being aggressive, it could be conservative or something like that. But that's the place you got to change. So it's under retirement, and then analysis was actually under retirement and analysis. You can change stuff there, but you can't change it to each specific plan. It's got to be for, or you can't change it. You can't change what's the word I'm looking for on the planning? The master plan has got to be specific to a proposed plan, if that makes sense. It still works fine, but I can see I've had two people kind of, again, frustrated is too big of a word, but two people say, oh, I should build, and you can't. Let's see. What was I saying? Okay, I'll get back to that here in just a second. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So if you look, so anyway, I'm going to charge $500 for Social Security stuff. We'll do the calculators. I'll give you the report, which is pretty cool. You can always just go to Larry Kotlikoff's stuff for $40, man. His Maximize My Social Security is freaking awesome. I mean, it's fantastic. There's no guide to tell you about it in terms of, you don't have anyone to bounce questions off, but it's not a bad idea to do that. So Larry Kotlikoff, MaximizeMySocialSecurity.com. It's great. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's probably the best Social Security software out there. But that's kind of it's not real retirement planning or certainly taxes, but it is good for Social Security. So I highly recommend that. All right. So let's get cracking here. What kind of investment for a traditional IRA of $400,000? Man, what kind of depends on your risk tolerance, Robert. So Robert Berry says, how she invests? You got $400,000, 75 years old. I mean, it's a way loaded question. The way I look at it like this, man, if you invest in the markets, and this is stock markets, you got to be willing to take a 30% decline, but 30% doesn't mean anything. What it really means is in true money. If you're down a year from now and you're down to 280, would you be okay with that? That's a 30% decline. And if you're not okay with that, then you need to say, how about a 20% decline? That's 20%, that's 80,000. So now you're down to 520 or 320, excuse me. So if you had a year's time and we fast forward a year from now and you're down to 320 because you got hit 20%, would you be okay with that? And if the answer is yeah, then go hell's bells, man. Go to the markets, full-fledged stock. If the answer is no, then you kind of got your gauge there. So 30% is kind of what you're looking at for most stock market declines. There are some that are more than that. From October 2007 to March 9th, 2009, it was 57% if memory serves on the S&P 500, 54%. Something it's more than 50%. So your 400,000 would have been worth 200,000. It sounds good. It sounds easy in theory, but during that time, it's tough. That's tough. So you just got to look at your risk tolerance, and you don't look at your risk tolerance as a percentage. I could take a 20% decline. No, you look at your risk tolerance as a dollar amount. Would you be able to deal with $80,000? And you're waking up a year from now down to 320. But the problem is, like Warren Buffett says, no one rings a bell to say now it's the time the market is just bottomed out. We don't know that. We just don't know. That's why it's always hard to stay solid when the markets are getting killed, because you think it's going to get worse. I mean, March 9th, 2009, the only guy was Brian Westbury from First Trust Advisors in Chicago, who was able to say with any freaking sense of assurance that the market was bottoming out. No one else knew that. Hell, I didn't. So it really depends on your risk tolerance, man. Let's see. Bedford, do you still offer the right cat? Yeah. And so what is the best way to search for your 1,000 plus? Probably the playlist, Rob. I got a playlist on there that I try to get everything in a playlist. And so I don't know how you do that. If there's a specific question, I don't know. I guess it depends on if it's revolving Social Security, retirement planning, taxes. But I have all these playlists on there, Rob, where if you it depends on what you're looking for. And I just look at the playlist, if that makes sense. So it's not the video specifically, it's a playlist. And then I don't know the thing with YouTube is tough to search this stuff. I've noticed that to some of the guys I follow, like Wrangler Star, and other guys I follow. I'm like, man, I just want to see how to do this. And it's hard. And I've never understood why you can't make it searches a little bit easier, but I don't know. That's a tough one. Clicking and hunting, pecking, I guess. So Chemtrail Skies of South Carolina. Okay, what's going on? Southern Cal, Chemtrail Skies. I don't know what that means, Andrew. That sounds scary. Gary Edwards, were you the guy, Gary, who emailed me about having a regular Q&A session like this? If so, I can't remember, but anyway, a guy named Gary or Jerry, I think it's Gary, had emailed me, said he'd like to see if we could do this on a regular basis. And I keep saying I'm going to do it. I keep forgetting. So I think I am going to start doing that. I'll let you know. Jack, for our Columbus Blue Jackets fan, one of two we have here today. What the hell? Says he found out TD Ameritrade through his financial advisor limits me from making trades rebalancing. That's nuts, Jack. What the hell is that? I mean, how can they limit you in making trades and rebalancing? I've never heard that. I don't know. That's weird to me. I would say I need a new custodian. I got to make trades, man. I got to be able to rebalance. I'm paying for it. Why can I do that? Gypsy Road says my taxable Social Security is more than what I'm receiving. My taxable Social Security is more than what I'm receiving. Then what am I receiving? I can't follow that question, Gypsy Rose. If my taxable Social Security is more than what I'm receiving, then what I'm receiving, you're going to have to rephrase that. I don't get it. Hey, Lisa K, good evening. Did you verify there is IRS rules on super? Yeah, I mean, I verified to the best I can, Mike. The IRS rules, the PLR, private letter rulings, and things like that. Look, I'm just not convinced. I mean, that doesn't mean I'm just naturally skeptic when it comes to some of the stuff that I'm just naturally skeptical. Let's just put it that way when it comes to some of the stuff. And until we get explicit, definitive ideas on this, some of the guys I follow, Michael Kidd says he's a natural skeptic too. And he was pretty negative on it, on the mega backdoor Roth thing. And he's kind of tampered down a little bit, which makes me tamper down a little bit. But I just look, for me, it doesn't affect that many people. Certainly doesn't affect me. I don't have that kind of scratch. I'm sure it's a big deal for maybe you. I don't know, but for me, it's just not a big deal. So it's not worth it for me to dive into the various things. But again, watching Ed Slott, watching Jeff Levine, watching Kitsis, while they seem to be comfortable, I've yet to hear explicitly the IRS is cool with this, and I don't know. I can't imagine it's going to be an issue, but who knows? I tell you, man, you just don't know. Thoughts on 529 plans versus tax? Yes, Jamie, everyone's against taxable accounts. I don't know why. I mean, my goodness, 529s are fine, but the problem with I got no problem with 529s either. The worst case scenario is you pull the money out not for a qualified purpose, so you got to pay tax on your gain and maybe a 10% penalty. What do you do? I mean, it sucks, but it's just not the worst thing that ever happens. Just on your gains, for heaven's sake. You might not even have any gains. It's not on your principal. But the nice thing about taxable accounts, you don't have any of that. If you invest it correctly in low growth oriented, but I mean growth, capital gain, turnover, low turnover, or what we just talked about yesterday, the other day when I did the thing on Vanguard. You put in some Vanguard index funds, you don't have freaking capital gains to report. Unless you sell it, then you're going to have capital gains for sure. But at the end of the day, that's something you control. So I got no qualm whatsoever using taxable accounts. The issue is you don't want high dividends. You don't want real estate investment trust, for instance. You want low dividends. So again, more growth-oriented mutual funds, ETFs particularly, or index funds that don't have a lot of turnover. You don't want a lot of taxable stuff. So I think taxable accounts get way underutilized because everyone has been trained for this mantra, defer, defer, defer. Defer ain't tax-free, man. Not you, Jamie, but this defer is just you're pushing the tax code down the right. You're pushing the tax kicking the tax can down the road. And I mean, that just means you're going to pay at some point, and you don't know what is going to be when you're going to pay at some point from the tax code. So I don't get this whole thing where we got to defer at all costs. I'm not a big fan of that necessarily at all. Tamara from Crazy California, welcome aboard. I like my 10-year Harry says I still like my 10-year period certain annuity plan to bridge the gap from 60 to 70. I tell you, until you hit Social Security, I think it's a wonderful plan for sure. What I think about Paul Merriman's, I don't know anything about his flexible distribution tables. Not familiar with that. RVTDT. I somewhat, I don't want to say take it. Paul, what's the word? I thought Paul had fallen head over heels for small cap value stocks, like I know a lot of people do, and I was surprised by that because I listened to Paul's podcast with Med Faber. I think it was back a year ago, and I just listened to the other day when I was going to get my my MRI done, and he was so head over heels about small cap value. That's rookie stuff, and I was surprised by that because I was like, man. Paul, you know that if you take away the 6-year time frame, small cap value hasn't done anything any better than large cap growth. I mean, it's just a 6-year time frame. It just did extraordinarily well. And if you take that out, it's just like everything else. And he was advocating for that as if it was like the panacea. I'm surprised. So look, I'm sure someone could say, Scanlon, you found this, and I get that. For me, I was like, I don't know. That's not hard to refute the whole love of small cap value. I've known people I've known people I like that follow this. If you just did small cap value and they look at the small cap value getting 12%, who does that remind you of? And they extrapolate that on as if that's some kind of consistent return that you could expect to get. I said, it's just not. Anyway, so I don't know anything about his flexible distribution tables. I'd probably be interested of it, but there's so much stuff out there. Usually I have my own certain kind of guys I follow. Wade Fowl, a reverse mortgage guy, but he does more than just reverse mortgage guy. We got Fowl, Finke, Michael Fink. I don't know if it's Fink or Finke, David Blanchett. So we got PHB is what I call it. PHB. Fowl, Finke, Blanchett, PHB. They write all the time for the Journal for Financial Planning. Their stuff is just superior. They got Reichenstein over at Baylor, Reichenstein and Meyer. I don't know if Bill Meyer's at Baylor or not, but Reichenstein is a tax professor who's written tons on Social Security. Again, Jeffrey Levine, Ed Slott. We got, what's his name? Bob Keebler that I follow for tax stuff. couple trust guys. I don't really follow her that much anymore, and I'm even drawing a blank her name. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't remember her name on trust. On IRA district, I cannot. Dude, what the hell, man? I've met her a couple times. She's out of Boston. I cannot believe I can't remember her name. Oh, that's nuts. Anyway, she does a lot of stuff on estate planning with IRA distributions. I can't remember her name. It's crazy. And then we got my man out of Randy Gardner, who used to be with the University of Missouri, Kansas City. I think he's now with some firm in Dallas on estate planning and trust. And Randy Kavesh out of Los Angeles. So I get this group of people I like who write the way I like to read. And I can't believe I can't remember that lady's name out of Boston. Holy crap. Dude, I've got her book signed and autographs, like $150 book. Anyway, so generally speaking, once you kind of get your people that you follow, and then of course Michael Kitsis and all the guys there's people on Advisor Prospectus, Joe Tomlinson, Michael Edisis, some of these guys I listen to all the time, Alan Roth, and so you just there's just so many people writing so much stuff that I don't have enough time to kind of research everything. But that's my thing with Paul Merriman, with the whole thing with small cap value. It's like, at 55, can I move money from my 401k to IRA to Roth without penalty? Yeah, absolutely. That's a rollover from your 401k to your IRA, Nicholas. And then it's a conversion from your IRA to Roth. Absolutely. It'll be taxed. It will not be penalized. It'll certainly be taxed. Yep. Nope, not me on regular Q&A. Right on. Okay. And Gary, what are the long-term capital rates? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I think they're 15, 20 is what my thinking is. 0, 15, 20. I don't think they've changed, Deke. 0, 15, 20. And if you're making a certain amount of money, like I was talking with a guy, was it Saturday, and then a guy today that are paying 3.8% net investment income tax because they're making more than $250. So they're paying the 23.8% because of net investment income tax, NIIT. That's anything you make more in passive income. Once your income breaches 250, married, filing jointly, or 200 single, you're no longer paying 15 or 20, you're paying the extra 3.8% as well. And then this guy today was also paying an extra 0.9 for Medicare surtax because he's a pilot. He makes too much money, so he gets charged there as well. And that's the stuff that's coming. When it comes to Social Security fixes and all that, it's not going to be reduction in payments. It's going to be these back end taxes that you'll see, but not most of us won't be the wealthy, right? Because this guy didn't earn his money, only flying for 45,000 years. What do you think about Roth conversions for us? I'm a huge fan of Roth conversions. If you want to, I get this a lot. Am I too old for Roth conversion? Hell no. I mean, the issue is if you're old, that generally means you don't have any earning income, which obviously means you have low tax bases too. So if you got low tax rates, then Roth conversions are freaking awesome. Especially because you, Robert, you're married, man. I mean, so if you do Roth conversions while you're in low tax bracket, hell, man, you're going to leave your surviving. We'll always kill off the husband, but the surviving spouse, because we're chivalrous. Oh, no, don't be chivalrous. That went out in 1981. Don't care. We're chivalrous, so we still take care of the surviving spouse, and it's still going to be the lady who needs to be taken care of because the husband did right in making sure they take advantage of the tax code. For the love of me. So we have Josh and Charlotte. Josh is 4 years older. Presumably you're older than your wife. Presumably your Social Security is a little bit higher than your wife. And presumably you have more money in your name than she because you worked while she didn't make as much money. All right. Look, you can argue this all day until we're blue in the face. It's just the nature of the beast. And I hate to say it, it's not because of gender gap or whatever it is. It's because men work dangerous jobs. That's all there is to it. There are a whole lot more men getting killed in the labor than there are women. That's just fact. So if you're going to work a dangerous job, you're going to be expected to be compensated for that accordingly. Crazy. But anyway, so what happens is now we say, okay, I'm 4 years older. I made more money. More likely to die. When I leave to Charlotte, I would much rather leave her a tax-free asset than a taxable asset. And so I leave it tax-free, which is I can Roth conversions. But Josh, I'm 75 years old. I don't give a hell. I don't give a crap. That just means you're not making that much money. You're not shoveling ditches for a living out there anymore. So you probably got no earned income. You got Social Security, maybe a pension. That's it. So now take advantage of the two tax codes that you have, the married filing jointly and the higher tax brackets that you have, and I don't have my tax thing here, but between you and your spouse, you have double the taxable income to stay in the lower tax bracket than she will when you're dead. So take advantage of that and leave it to her. So that way she doesn't have required distributions as a single taxpayer, which also affect her Medicare partial premiums as well. And on top of that, if you got kids and grandkids, again, take advantage of the tax code as, Grampy and Grammy at a 10 or 12% clip. And that way you can leave it to your anesthesiologist's daughter who's paying 35%. Hell, we'd much rather have her inherited at 35% tax-free than inherited as an IRA, which has got to be taxed at 35% on the very first penny she gets. You're never too old to do Roth conversions, ever. I cannot stress that enough. I'm in South Carolina. Oh, and the skies are Carolina blue. No chemtrails here. I don't even know what a chemtrail is, says Lisa. Right on. I don't know what a chemtrail is. It sounds scary because you got the word chem in there. Let's see. I recently was told by Fidelity that the zero fee mutual funds are ineligible to be held in a self-employed 401k. What do I make of that? Fidelity can do what they want. Who cares? At this day and age, Belang P. There's so many low cost funds and investors out there. It doesn't matter. I hate to say it, but going back to Med Faber, he used to talk about the difference between 1% and 10 basis points is a big drop. Now 10 basis points to 4 basis points is just, man, who cares? At this stage, is so low. The costs have already been ironed out of there or squeezed out of there. So, I hate to say it, if I get a Vanguard at 6 basis points or Fidelity at 2 basis points, for me, it doesn't matter. I'm still going Vanguard. So you can get low cost funds, and even American funds with the net asset at NAV. What that means is you get the A shares without the front end commission. Even that's freaking 45 basis points, which is still pretty doggone cheap. So if I can get American funds A shares without the commissions at 45 bips, and I want some active management and a conservative blue chip stock value fund, American funds is fantastic. But Josh, it's not no fee funds, man. At this stage, if the fees are so low, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And this is the issue I have with the investment advisory business as a whole. Okay. I just got to go on this tangent. Man, I've had 3 people reach out to me in the last 2 days. Who do I know is a fiduciary that can manage my funds? I do not know where this term fiduciary is all of a sudden becoming so big in the vernacular that everyone wants to be fiduciary. Look, I got no problem with fiduciaries, but I trust them as much as I trust non-fiduciaries. They're all looking out for their best interests. And I hate this idea. That's just water, by the way, because I'm a teetotaler, that this fiduciary somehow makes someone superior or in your best efforts, intention for the client more so than a non-fiduciary. I don't buy that for 2 seconds flat. I was talking to some guy just the other day, and his fiduciary put him in all this crap. I said, what? It's nuts. And I said, but he was holding himself as a fiduciary. And I see that all the time. The minute they start saying, I'm a fiduciary, and they're letting that word define their value to you, man, run for the hills. That's like saying I'm a CFP. I could care 2 craps if you're a stupid CFP. I want to know, just because you pass some tests, that's great. That doesn't mean you know what you're doing. That doesn't mean you know how to freaking talk to me. That doesn't mean you're not going to try to sell me something. Just watch out for the whole thing with fiduciaries. I'm telling you. So what these fiduciaries are trying to do, they're trying to say, we're fiduciaries. We use low-cost ETFs and index funds. And they're still putting a 1% wrapper on the portfolio that they charge you. It's nuts. Forget that. I'd rather have a guy from Ed Jones. I've said this a million times on Sunday. Recognizing a lot of these guys at Ed Jones aren't financial advisors. They come from other walks of life, some individual bonds or brokered CDs, then some, pay 2.5 up front and no other sales charge whatsoever. Then some fiduciary with a CFP, and he's so smart. No. Hey. It's just a pet peeve. The fiduciary, stop. I just literally stopped. This thing that a fiduciary makes someone more, holier than thou is simply not. There's no validity to that whatsoever. None whatsoever. That doesn't mean fiduciaries are bad or fiduciaries are good. It just literally means that they're defining themselves by this word. I'm a fiduciary. That just tells me, like, why do you even have to say that? It's nuts. Opinions of low-cost brokers, like a brokerage firm. I'm not sure what you're asking there, Gary. What's low cost? Is that true? Warren Buffett is taking a day off so he can watch me and Dustin Tibbetts. Rich, what's up, man? I hope so. Maybe you can learn a thing or two right there, Bruce. That's funny. 529s have limited bet. Yeah, there you go. Gary, 529s, man, spot on. 529s do have a lot of limitations on there. I agree. I agree with that. But no, I'm a fan too. I mean, you're still getting tax free. In worst case scenarios, you pay taxes and a 10% penalty on your gains. So not a big deal. Jade explores. Is there a way I can research the likelihood my private company pension will be around when I retire? I'm 40 and don't include it in retirement planning calculations at all. Yeah, I don't know, Jade. Maybe PBGC. There's a private public benefit guarantee corporation. That's the firm that it's almost like FDIC for banks. FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. PBGC. The Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation is the same thing for pensions. Talk to a pilot, though, and they'll see if the PBGC is going to pay you 100%. I don't know if they keep a running tally on that or not. I just don't know. But, I mean, frankly, what would you do differently? Look, not trying to make light of that, but let's just say it looks like it's in a world of hurt. What would that change for you? You might be able to say, well, I can use this in my retirement planning if I find out it's not in a world of hurt. But if it is in a world of hurt, I'm not going to use it in my retirement planning. But you're not using your retirement planning now. So if you found out it's a world of hurt and couldn't make good on his promises, how would that change? That'd be the question I ask for you. I don't know. PBGC guarantees you, I think, no more than $3,700 a month. I have a chuckle at the guarantee though, because they're not. Like everything else in the U.S., we are underfunded big time. PBGC is as well. So just be advised, just because they say we guarantee. Now, one of the things I'll tell you, I'll never forget, I had I don't want to say it. Never mind. Let's just put it this way. There is an administrator up in the state in the Northeast who did not like the Republican governor because the Republican governor said if you make more than $150,000 in state pension, you no longer get a cost of living adjustment. I'll never forget this administrator from a school district in the Northeast was, man, fit to be tied that this Republican governor was putting a limit on cost of living adjustment. I said, man, this is why we're in trouble, because this don't right. You should be getting 150,000, man. I'm sorry, nuts. You said only bonds and traditional value in Roth. Hey, what's going on, Ernesto? Andrew, I have my retirement money with Prudential. Their reporting is not good. I feel somewhat blind as to my percentage gains. It's frustrating. Do you have to keep it with Prudential, Andrew? Hell, just roll it out, man. I mean, if you have to, that sucks. But I mean, what I'd tell you is I just say, hey, what did you start the year with? What's it worth now? I mean, literally just keep that simple. I do want to actually talk about something. If you look, a lot of times, and USA did this, and I think Schwab did this. If you look at your IRAs, all right, and without being able to show you a chart, let me show you something. Oh man, do I have my thing? Yeah. This might not come across as well as I was hoping without being able to give you a visual, but let's say you have an IRA. All right, you start with $100. That's your cost base is $100. All right, so now the account grows to 110 because you got a $10 dividend. All right, so you got this $10 dividend, and it's now worth $110. All right, so again, you started with $100, $10 dividend is now worth $110. Now again, this is an IRA. Now the market falls 5%. So it's going to fall 5% from that 110. If I take my trusty calculator, 110 minus 5% is 104.5. All right. So now it's worth 104.5. All right. So follow me here. So we start with $100. That's our cost basis. That's our initial investment into the IRA. We got a $10 dividend just for simplicity. So it's worth 110 is our actual new cost basis, because $10 is taxable in a non-IRA account. So we got a cost basis of 100, a $10 taxable distribution of 110, but the market fell 5%. So now we're sitting at 104.5. What is our gain? Well, our gain is 4.5%, correct? Yeah, because we start with 100. We have paid no tax, but we have $104.50 is our value right now even though we had 110 at one point, but now it's 104.5, but we still have a 4.5% gain. A lot of statements in IRAs will show you have a loss. It'll be a loss of -5% because they're saying this $100 is your cost basis plus a $10 addition to your cost basis and a taxable dividend, which means your cost basis is 110. But your cost basis isn't 110 because this $10 is tax deferred. You don't pay tax on it because it's an IRA. And so what you're going to look at, going back to my man Andrew's question here, is a lot of firms going to show you that your cost basis is well higher than what it truly is in terms of your IRAs and Roth IRAs and qualified accounts, which is going to show you an underperforming of your performance. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen all the time. I had one literally yell at me. He was up. I'm just telling you right now. I said, dude, you put 100,000, whatever it is. You put 100,000 bucks in, it's worth 120 or whatever. He goes, but how come the statement is showing I'm down 13% or whatever it was? I said, I don't know why they do that, but a lot of firms do that stupid, but they're assuming that your cost basis is being added to because of the taxable distribution, but because this is an IRA, it is not a taxable distribution. So for the love of the good Lord, please, when you're looking at your IRA statements, don't look at your cost basis because I'm telling you, firms do that all the time. And if you're looking at it wrong, you'll make a drastic mistake. You'll think you're down for the year or down for your holding period when you're absolutely not. All that matters is what you start off with versus what it's worth today. If that's a taxable account, that's different, a completely different situation. But most people have IRAs and 401ks and 403bs and things of that nature. So do not make decisions just based on the line item of your investment statement that says, I'm up for the year, I'm down for the year, I'm up since I own this fund, I'm down since I own this fund. No. How much did you start with and what's it worth today? That's all that matters. You start with $100, it's worth 104. You are up. It might not be great, but you are up. But if your cost basis or if your account statement is showing you're down, how could you be down? You're not. I hope that makes sense. So Andrew, again, I'd try to switch out to another firm. Robert, the previous video on asset location, you said only bonds and traditional value in Roth. Can I elaborate on traditional? I would hate to say explicit, don't have anything but bonds, but the idea is that the bonds are taxed as ordinary income. All right. So if you have bonds in a taxable account, I'll get my trusty thing again. All right. So we got a taxable, tax deferred, and tax free. All right, so what you're having here, this is a taxable account. That's a tax deferred, like an IRA, and that's a Roth. All right, so if you have bonds in your taxable account, these are taxed as ordinary income. Bonds are taxable as ordinary income. So whatever your income tax bracket is, the worst taxes to pay. Whatever comes out of here, this is your tax deferred. Your IRA, 401k, 403b is also taxed as ordinary income. So essentially what a lot of people do is they'll have bonds in their taxable account, which they're paying ordinary income tax, and they'll have stocks, growth-oriented stocks in particular, growth-oriented stocks in particular in here in the IRA, and that comes out as taxable. And that doesn't make any sense. So basically what comes out as ordinary income. So what you're doing is you're paying ordinary income on two things. What you should be doing instead is you should be saying, no, forget that. I want bonds in my tax deferred account because bonds are already taxed as ordinary income. So why have bonds in a taxable account when I can have them and make them pay ordinary income, when I can have them pay ordinary income right here? And then I want stocks in this account, the taxable account, because it's taxed as long-term capital gains and qualified dividends, which is much lower if taxed at all. So here I got a taxable account in stocks, because that comes out as taxable long-term capital gains and qualified dividends. Bonds are already taxed as OI. So essentially what we're doing here is we're flipping the tax on stocks. We're shaking it from as much more preferable tax, which could be zero, by the way, long-term capital gains and qualified dividends. We're making it taxed as ordinary income. And then we're turning around and having bonds also taxed as ordinary income. Don't do that. Have bonds, which are going to be taxed as ordinary income anyway, have them come out of your IRA. It's going to be ordinary income. Then put your stocks in this bucket to take advantage of the preferable tax treatment. And secondly, on top of that, and just to reiterate this a million times a Sunday, but I think it's incredibly important, stocks that grow in this account step up to your surviving spouse, and depending on if you live in common law or community property, but she will inherit some of that property tax-free with step up in basis. And certainly your heirs will inherit the entirety of it tax-free because of step up in basis. So not only are you switching a stock that's taxed as ordinary income to much more preferable tax treatment in terms of long-term capital gain or qualified dividend, if it taxed at all, while you're alive, but at your death, your heirs will inherit it potentially completely tax-free. Your heirs do not inherit this stuff completely tax-free. They inherit it 100% taxable as ordinary income. So we don't want that. So that's why we want stocks and taxable accounts and bonds and IRAs. Now, again, it doesn't have, if you ever have stocks in an IRA, you're stupid, or if you ever have a bond in a taxable account, you're stupid. Look, some people are going to have a mix of both. I get that. I mean, you can't just start willy-nilly selling stuff and incurring capital gain because some dude on YouTube said that. But I'm telling you, that's the preferable way to do it without question. All right, hold on just a second. Hold on. I'm predicting 2-1 Columbus. Oh, look at that. Yes, come on, man. Come on, bees. Oh, 4:20 in the second. All right, let's go. Let's see. For a 60-year-old two still working, my man Yar. Hello, Yobi. Let's see. For a 62-year-old still working, what is the step-by-step process to figure out if it's worth converting traditional IRA to Roth and avoid higher tax bracket? If you're married, it's probably worth it. But I got to tell you, I mean, I've talked to a couple guys last couple weeks and ladies. It didn't make sense to do Roth conversions just because there is a point. Who was I talking to the other day from Texas? Great people in Texas, East Texas. Anyway, and their income is so high relatively to when they hit retirement that what they're going to be doing if they do Roth conversions, even though they are married, is they're already paying relatively high taxes, and they're going to be pulling more to pay their taxes higher today under the assumption that in the future they might pay lower taxes. And that doesn't make sense. That's like two birds in the hand. No, what is it? One bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. There's a lot of assumptions for two birds in the bush there to make that worth it. So if I'm pulling forward taxes on top of high taxes I'm already paying in order for the hope that I'll pay low to no tax in the future, I don't know if I like that. In this case, when we ran the financial planning, we ran the cash flow, which is why I charged the $2,500, because when you start running these cash flow scenarios, it loses a lot more in debt. We just start saying, I don't see it, man. I just don't see the benefit of doing that because, A, you're still going to have societal. And the issue here is that a pension. That's what it was. If you have a pension, it's hard to make the Roth 401 Roth conversions add up, frankly, from a tax perspective. It really, really is. The pension is really, I don't want to say it doesn't make it worth it, but that pension really can hurt you from a Roth perspective, simply because you're going to have that fundamental basement of income right there, the floor. You're always going to have that floor of income. If your pension is $60,000, right out the gate, we know for a fact you're in the 12% tax bracket without question. So now you start doing Roth conversions and you just don't see the back end benefit. So there's no real 100% tried and true mechanism to do this, Yar. But at the end of the day, if you're married, if you don't have a pension, that's a good starting point for sure. 60 years old says, Jim, don't need to touch my IRA, but how much I see. Hey, CB, right on, man. All right, let's see. Yeah, let's get rid of this guy. Hold on just a second. Just hide this guy. All right, cool. All right, so we'll hide that. All right, there we go. 60-year-old. Don't need to touch my IRA, but how much should I pull out to convert? Man, Jim, is way too much to chomp on there. It completely depends on your tax bracket. It's so many things to look at. I would never venture to say without knowing more. Do I recommend people wait until 66 before collecting Social Security? Yeah, unless they're affected by government pension offset, Lisa. And if you don't know what government pension offset is, I imagine you are not affected by that for sure. which is usually for school teachers who teach in a district that is not paying Social Security taxes. So, and then my man CB says, wait till 70 if you can. I could not agree that more. Could not. What are your thoughts regarding? I love HSA accounts. Absolutely. The drawback, of course, is you can't add to them once you're on Medicare. But HSAs will be in high deductible health plans. That's going to change the medical issue for this country in the future. It's going to at some point, because the doctors, look, man, these doctors are going to get paid by hook or by crook. And the way it's going now with the Medicare and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Studies services, and the way these insurance companies are going, a lot of doctors are going the private route without question. And they're going to do a concierge thing, and they're going to say, I'm not even accepting insurance, but you can still use HSA. Well, I mean, it's going to be, I'm just telling you right now, I can see this a mile away, and I can't wait. Now, how does that work with the hospitals? I don't know. But for the doctor, for the physician services, they're going to say, I'm not even accepting it. And because that, you're going to want to build things like HSAs up to be able to pay for your concierge services. I did a video where I interviewed a lady at Fort Worth, a doctor. I forgot her name, but she was great. And we talked about direct primary care. So it's basically primary care physicians that don't go through insurance. They just do direct primary care. You're paying a monthly retainer, $150 or something like that. And they do all the stuff, all the diagnostics, all the blood work and everything that a normal PCP would do, but except without having to go through insurance. And I tell you, man, it's the way to go. I can't stand single payer. I hate single payer. What do I hate most? Communism, socialism, single payer health insurance. I hate it. But the benefit that these guys have going for their argument is that there's no insurance to have to go through. I mean, and I think there's a huge allure that the lack of having to go through an insurance company and all the negativity that goes with it. Because there's a lot of, I hate for y'all who work in billing and insurance, but I hate to say it, but I mean, if we didn't have you, it'd be saving a whole lot of money. That sounds horrible. I get it. But it's true. And it's just like cashiers at Walmart and Costco. I mean, you can see what's going on now, and robots, stacking warehouses and stuff like that. At some point, there's not going to be billing for insurance. It's either going to go private or it's going to go 100% single payer. That's inevitable. It's a clash. And frankly, I pray to the good Lord it does not go 100% single player. Just my wife texted me. I thought she's texting me that somebody got a goal, because if it does, we're all screwed. No other way around that. HSAs are the solution. High deductible health plans with catastrophic coverage. I love it, man. I just hope it happens more and more and more. And we shall see. We shall see. Or what they can do, what I hope they do, is they say we're going to give a single payer for people with pre-existing conditions. Not just something with a knee issue, leukemia, things of that nature, pre-existing conditions, and we're going to subsidize it. And we're going to subsidize with higher premiums to the people who are going to be on that for sure. I hate to say it, but if you have more risk, you need to pay more. It's no different than living on the coast of Florida relative to somebody who lives on the mountains. What's the likelihood that someone who lives on the mountains is going to get a hurricane taking out their house? Not high. So you should have to pay more. Doesn't mean you're going to have to be bankrupt, and the government, i.e. the taxpayer, will subsidize. I got no problem with that. None whatsoever. As a libertarian capitalist I am, you got to take care of people. But you subsidize these people to some degree, make them pay a little bit higher premium to the effect that they can. But then you let the other people say, no, you guys, high deductible health plans, catastrophic coverage, and covered by HSAs, done and done. Watch the doctors flee to come into this side of the equation. Still be lots of doctors over here taking care of those with pre-existing conditions, kind of like the VA, kind of like with Medicaid. But all these doctors say, get rid of the shackles of the freaking insurance companies and the Medicare regulations. I'm going over there to help these guys who are paying me, whatever the concierge fees are. Man, it'd be awesome. Again, Trumpster, man, if he could get that through, I don't think Democrats would go because they all want single payer. But I think if he could get that through, man, he would. That plus if the Trumpster were smart, take the socialists, as I talked about before. Look, I don't think I hide that I like the Republicans more than Democrats. Republicans piss me off just as much as the Democrats by and large. They had ample time with Bush. They had both houses of Congress. Bush didn't do anything. I get that. Hell, they had both houses of Congress with freaking Trump, so they didn't do anything. So I don't want to hear the Republicans. If they only had 8,000 more seats in the House and Senate, they could. They don't have the guts. But anyway, If Trumpster could get the Democrats on board with the Social Security, that 2100, and there's things about the 2100 policy I would rather not have, but man, he could get the Democrats on there and then fix that with a not Medicare expansion, but a health insurance expansion to privatize it. It'd be lights out, man. It'd be lights out. The Democrats would go on that like crazy because they know if it comes to Social Security, they've been banging the Republicans against that for years. I mean, for years, it's Goldwater. They've been banging on the Republicans about that. If Trumpster came down and started waving the flag of protecting Social Security, Democrats would jump on board. Waving the flag of protecting pre-existing illnesses, Democrats would be on board, but offer conservative, capitalistic, libertarian approaches to free markets on the same time. Oh, it'd be great. By the way, did you hear what Chuck Schumer said today about China and trade? Huh? Pretty interesting. You tell me there's not something coming down the pike, infrastructure. You tell me there's not some kind of trade bill coming down the pike, a bipartisan thing. This is Chuck Schumer, man. This isn't Mitch McConnell. Chuck Schumer is giving Trump kudos for his dealings with China and trade. Pretty interesting, eh? All right, 20 seconds left in a second. I'm telling you, a lot of these people think politics is broken. I agree. But, when people know how to get stuff done, they know how to get stuff done. If there's anything that Trump knows, he knows how to get stuff done. And he knows what the Schumers, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world want. They want accomplishments. They want accomplishments as they're going into 2020. I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to get some good stuff coming down the pike. Look, it's not all going to be favorable. I mean, I cannot stand the idea of big government, trust me. But big government is coming. There's no other way around that, unfortunately. So we can get a big government with some kind of free approaches is a wonderful thing. I'm just telling you, I'd love to see that. Ever see a jet streak across the sky and leave a trail of smoke and vapor? Yeah, I think all the time, man. Condensation trail, says Robert Kaufman. So it must be a pilot there. I see that all the time, right? I've always wondered what that was, Robert. Is the condensation? You recommend converting any standard IRA to a Roth. I hate to say any standard. I don't know about any. Dwight from St. Peter's, what's up? But I do recommend converting as long as it fits your specific needs, Mark. And I don't know what the specific needs are for sure. Chemtrails. Gotcha. All right, New Zealand in the house. Right on, man. I'm going worldwide. There you go, Andrew. That's a chemtrail. So chemtrails apparently are the jets flying across, leaving a trail of smoke. And our man Robert Kaufman and Andrea said they're condensation trails. I did not know that. Condensation. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, my man Ernesto, fiduciary equals BS. I don't want to say that. You get where I'm going. All right, so here we go with the Gypsy Rose. What I mean is I have $21,000 is in my taxable Social Security. The 85% of my Social Security that I actually draw is taxable. Yeah, that's what it could be. But there's way more to that, Gypsy Rose. I mean, if just because your Social Security is $21,000 does not inherently mean 85% of it's taxable. None of it could be taxable. It completely depends on what your provisional income is. I don't feel like doing one, but provisional income. What's your other forms of income? I mean, if that's all I'm just telling you right now, you could live on $60,000 of Social Security, not one penny is taxable. Not one penny is. So don't follow these financial planners out there who say you got $50,000 Social Security. We're just going to assume 85% is taxable. Why? Why would you make that assumption? There's no reason to make that assumption. I mean, it might well be, but it's based on your provisional income. Provisional income is half your Social Security benefits. So in this case, it's $10,500 plus all other sources of income to include tax-exempt bonds, by the way. And then there's a bunch of different things you got to do to get the formula to figure out how much of that $21,000 is taxable. It's not just as simple as a threshold. So I got $21,000 Social Security, thus 85% is taxable. No, way more goes into it than that. Yeah, pretty cool. Hey, tune in from New Zealand. I know that is pretty cool. That's fantastic. Roth conversion, concern. If I never had a Roth, I don't know if the Roth conversion money would be locked up. No. So, okay. So 5-year rule does not apply once you're over the age of 59 and a half for your principal, Gary. It only applies for your earnings. Just keep that in the back of your mind. I tell you, there's so many different rules. There's no way to figure all this stuff out, but it just, I'm telling you, So think about it like this. Anytime you're doing, if you're over 59 and a half, and this is the way I was able to finally, because my brain, I can't take all this stuff at once. I got to think about it. And this is why I do these spreadsheets, by the way, because it helps me. It's like, oh, okay. If I have $100,000 in a traditional IRA and I take a $50,000 distribution, now I'm over the age of 59. Am I paying a 10% tax? No, I'm not paying it, or 10% penalty. No, I'm not taking a 10% penalty. I'm not paying a 10% penalty. Am I paying taxes though? Of course. All right. Now, if I'm over 59 and I convert 50,000 into a Roth, all right, now I got 50,000 of Roth. Forget what I have traditional, and then I take money out of the Roth. Am I paying taxes on that if it has not been open for 5 years? Yes, because I need 5 years for it to be tax free. I need it to be open 5 years for it's tax free. Am I paying a 10% penalty though? No. Why? Because I didn't pay a 10% penalty because I was over the age of 59 and a half for the traditional IRA as well. So I have no benefit in this case relative to the traditional IRA on my Roth because it's not tax-free on my earnings because I need my earnings to be locked up for 5 years. But my principal is I've already paid tax. That's already done. And I'm over the age of 59 and a half. So because I'm over the age of 59 and a half, I don't pay taxes. I don't pay a penalty on the amount of money what I converted, i.e. the principal, but I do pay taxes. I can't on the earnings I have unless it's been open for 5 years. Just remember that. It's just like I know it's not, I'm not going to explain it well, but just remember, if it's a traditional IRA, just think about it like that. Do you pay taxes on the distribution after the age of 59 and a half? The answer is no. A penalty. Do you pay a penalty on the distribution if you're over the age of 59 and a half? The answer is no. The same thing's applicable for Roth conversions. Do you get your gains tax-free in a Roth if it hasn't been open for 5 years? The answer is no, you can't. You got to wait 5 years. That's the only thing. I hope that makes sense. I just butchered that, I'm sure. Going with their 3 to 5 year cash plan. What are your thoughts on also setting aside for Roth conversions over the same time frame? Yeah, man. Love it. Yes. They're never going to tell me not to do Roth conversions. No way, man. Unless, low-cost brokerage firms. I don't like Merrill Edge. Sorry. Anytime. I don't like those firms. I don't like Smith Barney. It's not even Smith Barney anymore. Whatever it is. These firms that if you had money with them and it doesn't have less than or more than 250, or if it's less than 250,000 or whatever it is, they send you to a call center. That pisses me off. Man. Merrill Edge, Morgan Stanley, I don't know about UBS, all these big wirehouses. They basically say for financial advisors who build book of business on middle-class people, unless those middle-class people have over $250,000, you can't get paid on them. You can still service them for free, but you can't get paid on them. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them to a call center. I said, well, that's not what you all said when you offered me the services to sign up with you guys. That infuriates me. Oh, well, Vanguard's a call center. Yeah, Vanguard's a call center, and they always were a call center. They didn't offer one-on-one financial services where I'm going to look at you and your daughter as she's going to college, and I'm going to help you design this plan and all this stuff. I'm going to be at the beach with you, as we used to see in those old Morgan Stanley commercials. And then all of a sudden, oh, you have less than 250,000. Sorry, we're going to put you on to the call center. Nah, that's wrong. Dustin from Jazz Wealth mentions a fiduciary. I like Dustin, man. He's a good guy. So look, that's what I'm saying. I like Dustin personally. I have seen enough where people claim their fiduciary. Yeah, I guess he got me there. Zabut fee or whatever. No, Dustin's a good guy. I see so many of these guys on these websites and Facebook pages and stuff that they just want to. And look, Dustin, maybe he's doing it too much. I don't know. I'd probably say, dude, it doesn't. No one. I mean, I guess he has to do it because people care. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is now the word is so heavy in the vernacular. It's like if you're not a fiduciary, what's wrong with that guy? I guess in this day and age, you got to do it. Just to say, look, I am a fiduciary. I don't think I'd be saying it all the time. Wish it wouldn't, because it doesn't mean anything to me. But I guess for a lot of people it does. I mean, like I said, I had 3 people back to back to back. In fact, 2 of them I said they should talk to Dustin, as a matter of fact, because I don't manage money. Thoughts on making tax deferred and funding Roth? Yeah, see, I would, why would we do the tax deferred out of the gate? I don't know. I just don't see a benefit. I mean, look, there might be a benefit. It depends on what your tax bracket is, but generally speaking, with a median income in America, $60,000, I just don't see a huge benefit doing tax deferred right out the gate. I don't at all, not at all. And now, if you're in the 24% tax bracket, sure. Like guy I was talking to today was making 512 or something like that. Yeah, he needs a 401k and maximize that puppy, because when he retires, his tax bracket is going to drop like a brick in water. But I just think the tax deferred stuff is way overplayed. I don't think you need it, generally speaking. Depends on your situation, but I'd start with a Roth. How do I become you become a financial planner? Yeah, I'm just getting your goal thing now, CB. How do you come to? I guess you go to. Here's my thing with the financial planning industry, Mr. Whittam. Mr. Whittam. They're trying to make it where you have to have a college degree and you have to be a certified financial planner to hold yourself as a financial planner, which I find to be absolutely offensive and anti-freedom on his front. And the only reason they're doing is to limit entries, just barriers of entry is what they're doing. And any industry does this. They're always trying to limit barriers to entry, to limit competition. The thing that pissed me off about the financial planning industry is we're so big on diversity and different points of view and different skin colors and all that. And yet the thing we're trying, as we're saying all that, and yet at the same freaking time, what we're doing is we're saying to that single mom in Atlanta trying to raise 3 kids, oh no, you can't become a financial planner because you don't have a college degree. And pretty soon it's going to be a master's degree, by the way, and you don't have a CFP. And yet we're sitting there saying, oh, but we're so diverse. No, you're only diverse for rich people. You're not diverse for freaking working people. I'll tell you that right now. Freaking infuriates me. I can't believe how many people, all these people I get arguing. That's why I got rid of a couple of the Facebook groups I'm part of, because I get infuriated. Just a holier than thou elitist mentality of we have master's degrees. These other people, oh no, what are they? I'm like, nah, screw that, man. They know more than you. Who do you think knows more about freaking personal finance? That single mom with 3 kids, or you from freaking college that your dad freaking paid for everything, and you haven't even had a real job in your life, but you went to a CFP course, and now you're working for some freaking CFP firm for 6 months, and you're just waiting. Anyway. What I would suggest is I would go into banking, and I'd be a freaking front level banker, the platform bankers. Yeah, they're going to probably have you try to sell annuities. Yep. They're going to probably try to get you to sell home equity lines and car loans. Yep. And I'm telling you, you will learn more about the average needs of most Americans than any financial investment planning firm you'll ever see in your life. You will be able to understand what real people go through, what real people are worried about, and you will learn more about what their real net worth and financial situation is, and how to talk about it, and also how to talk to them on their level, as opposed to, let me tell you about beta and alpha and blah, 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 the Sharpe ratio. No one gives a crap about that. Forget all that. Look at freaking becoming a banker for about 2 years of the platform. I'm telling you, you'll learn about home equity lines, car loans, credit cards, CDs, the whole thing. You'll learn selling, a good way to do sales in a way that the client can understand, because you can look, man, you might have the best products and sliced bread, but the client doesn't act on it. No one's any better for it. So if you got a good product, you got to make them freaking act on it. How do you make them act on it? You freaking hit them over the head? No, you got to get to know them and say, look, develop a level of trust. And you do that by being on their side with them. So I go to banking, man. That's what I do. I start with banking. First 2 years of my life, go to banking, be a front level banker, not necessarily a teller. That's not what we're looking for. A platform rep. I don't know what they make, $30,000, $35,000 a year. You might get mutual fund licenses or something like that, but I think it's a great way to do it. Your last statement said you're funded 118%, Jade? Oh, you're good, man. I don't get why you wouldn't use that in your calculation. I think you're making a mistake, especially when it comes to all your other stuff that you're going to have for financial planning as well. I see the Avs. We got an Avs. They're playing the Sharks tonight. I don't think that game's dropped. The puck's dropped yet. I need monitors. Yeah. For that, I get some fools out there. If my employer matches 4 through B, 100% up to 18K, should I only contribute 18K? Is the boot Zabut fee, it depends on, it really completely depends on what your tax bracket is. If they match up to 100%, 18%, damn, dude. That's got to be a government entity, because us working folks, we don't get that. I'm just joking. You're a working folk too. I'm just kidding you. But that's nuts. I would take advantage of 18,000 for sure. Should I contribute the max I can? I would I would just do the whole thing to a Roth. But again, I don't know your specific situation. You put 25K into a Roth, let them put 18K into their tax deferred. That's gonna be tough to beat, man. You got it, Robert. Monty, my man Monty from Texas is in the house. So look at that. I see Lisa was telling some condensation, but she called it chemtrails, and now she's correcting herself on contrails. Oh, interesting. I hold you out, Lisa, because you're kind of rude to that guy. He said, get educated. But you said it wrong. It's not chemtrails, it's contrails. Let's see. Robert says, love your stuff. Living on cash savings now. Right on, right on. Let's see. Hey, Josh, cooking. Monty, there we go. Cooking steak. And he says, let's go Bruins. Right on. Game 7 for you, Monty. Dallas and the Blues, I think, tomorrow night. 60-year with zero income. How much did you pull from it? Man, from LR. I don't know. LR. Oh, IRA. All right. So just think about it, Jim. If you're freaking no income at all, and let's just say, I don't know, it doesn't matter what you got. You know, for a fact, you got what, 12,400 is a standard deduction. So you got 12,400 before you're even in the 10% tax bracket. If you're single, actually, is it 13,600? Whatever it is. I guess it's 13,000. Right? Whatever it is, 13,300. But you got between 12 and 13,000 right out the gate before you're even paying. Now, the first, and let's just say you're single, the first, we'll just say 13,000 is taxed at nothing because of your standard deduction. The next amount is going to be taxed, 10,000 will be taxed at 10%, and whatever's, I guess, left over would be 2,000 left over would be taxed at 12. So you'd be paying I don't know, $150 in taxes on 20. No, it'd be $1,050 on taxes on $25,000 coming out of your IRA. Yeah, that's about right. Man, you better be taking advantage of that, my friend. Hell yeah, I'd be doing that. I'd be doing more than that for sure, especially before Social Security kicks in. I've done videos. The double taxation of Social Security is going to affect you big time. Anyone listening right now, if you got Social Security and you got low income and you got IRA money, you are getting hammered from the tax man. You're going to pay I'm just telling you right now, $1 of IRA income is the equivalent of $1.85 taxable income. I'm telling you right now, it is. So once you're in a low tax bracket with low income and Social Security and IRA income, you're going to, every dollar you pull out of your, adding $1.85 of taxable income. It's flipping nuts. And all these politicians say they're working for the middle class and, middle class Joe, and I'm here for the middle class and the poor people. Yeah, bull crap. How come then they're middle class Joe and whoever Jeb Bush? How come then, who would it be? Trent Lott. How come when you guys are in charge, you did not fix the freaking fact that a lower middle class taxpayer, when they pull $1 out of IRA income, has $1.85 in taxable income when it factors Social Security and IRA distributions? How can you fix it? Don't tell me you're freaking for the poor and middle class. Screw all that stuff. Ugh, makes you mad. Pension based. Can I have a loan here? Let's just get rid of that. A lot of people got to be dumb, man. Don't be dumb. 55-year-old is better to take $27.50 a month in pension. All right, so here's a good question, though. My man Rajiv, all right, that's a good question. 55 years old. Now, I don't know if my man Rajiv is married. So let's say he is single. All right, so we're going to take $27.50 a month. We're going to times that by 12. So that gives us $33,000 a year of income. And we're going to divide that by that $600,000 of a lump sum you could take. Divide by $600,000. That's 5.5% distribution rate. 5.5. That's pretty good for a 55-year-old. That's not great, though. That's pretty good. That's not great. That would be probably what I expect to get if I was in my mid-60s. but that's not good enough where I'd take pension. It's just not. I just now I don't know if it's got a cost of living adjustment. My assumption is no. At that stage, Rajiv, I would go with the distribution, the lump sum, roll it to an IRA. Now, I was talking to a guy the other day, and I think his pension was about 7.5% distribution yield. And he was only 63 or something like that. That'd be insane not to take out. I'm telling you right now, folks, I get this question a lot. All you do is you take that money that Rajiv was talking about, $2,750, times it by 12, and divide that into the amount, or divide the amount of the lump sum into whatever it is. Divide the bigger number into the smaller number. Yeah. And that will give you your annual distribution yield. All right. So if it's anything above 7, it's very attractive. Now, it depends on how old you are. If you're 70 or older, above 7 in of itself isn't the cat's meow, but that's still pretty good. But if it's anything above 7, that's a pretty good place to be. If you're 60 or younger and you're getting above 6.5, that's a pretty good place to be. 5.5 is good for a 55-year-old guy. That's not great though. That's not superior. If I'm in my 50s, I'm getting 6 to 6.5. I'd even say 6.5. I'm taking it as a pension. Again, we don't know if it's got a cost of living adjustments. If I'm in my 60s, I'm getting above 7. I'm taking that. If I'm in my 70s, I'm getting above 8. I'm taking that with 100%. Those are just too good. You're not going to get that anywhere else. It's just not. So again, that's a rule of thumb. There's a lot going on here. I mean, depends on if you're married, depends on if it's a single life, joint life with survivor annuity, all these different things. But just in the back of your mind, it's the starting point. Under 50, under 60, if I'm getting, again, 6.5, I'm looking at taking it. Doesn't mean don't just listen to me. You got to do some more research. It's a lot of money to put in irrevocable thing. Because remember, once you take the pension, you can't undo it. It's going to be irrevocable. So you got to make sure you dive in that deeply. I didn't do anything with Liberty Share. I did MetaShare. Yeah, I did MetaShare right on. I don't know, man. I get my shoulder surgery and get my my nose thing, my septoplasty. We had to pay on my premium. My deductible was like $6,000, and then we pay our monthly premiums for regular insurance. I don't know how much MetaShare would have paid. I don't know. I can't say, Renee. I just I have a sneaky suspicion it might not have been good. I was watching this lady. I think I posted the video I did on my community tab on my YouTube channel. Her husband has back surgery, and Liberty wouldn't cover anything remotely involved around the spine. They say it's a pre-existing condition. So anything with the spine, Liberty wouldn't cover. So it's probably something Liberty and MetaShare that you want to jump into when you're in pretty good health. But if you have pre-existing conditions of some sort, it might be tough. I just don't know. But for us, I don't know. It was a challenge, man, because you just don't know. And I mean, for this right here, when I get my rotator cuff, it ain't gonna be cheap, and I don't know how much they would have paid. I don't, and that was kind of scary. Medical tourism instead of health insurance. Hell, you got to take care of number one, Robert. So if you got to go down to freaking Thailand or I don't think it was Mexico, but somebody's telling me the other day about some other country. The docs were good, and I think it was maybe Singapore or something like that. I said, hell, you got to do what you got to do. You got to take care of number one. Absolutely. I got no problem with that. Instead of health insurance in the U.S., I got no qualm with that whatsoever. None. I'm telling you, man, 100% Adam Smith right here, baby. You got to take care of this guy. And by me taking care of this guy, that means you're taking care of you, and you taking care of you, and me taking care of me means we're going to take care of each other a hell of a lot better than some freaking big government with all the solutions to tell us how to live our lives. You doing your thing, me doing my thing, and we kind of combine value for value service. It's amazing how that works. And so you take care of you, and there'll be a doctor to take care of himself for sure. But I don't know how it works overseas or Thailand or Singapore. Or I think this lady's going to Honduras. I don't think she was happy with it. It wasn't Honduras. I can't remember. But anyway, if I have fixed index annuities, it possibly convert to a Roth. That's actually a good question, Jack. All right. So annuities are a little bit different animal. When I was at USAA, it was always a cumbersome issue if you had a fixed annuity to convert it to a Roth, fixed annuity IRA, because you'd have to do a brand new contract which meant a brand new surrender charge, which seemed just absurd to me, but that's what they required. So if you had a fixed annuity, it's 3%, 3 years left on a surrender charge, and you want to convert it to a Roth, it wasn't just a changing of the title, you had a brand new contract. So just be careful if you're doing that. Can you keep the same terms, the same interest rates? At USA, you couldn't. I thought it was crazy, but so just be careful. And yeah, the annuity payments would be tax free if you did that. Yep. For the cost of medical insurance, I can live in Spain. Man, other than see, I love the US, but no, I get it, man. Oh hell, Robert, $1,200 a month for medical insurance. Hell, when I was on Cobra, I was paying $2,100 a month. And then we still had $7,000, $8,000 deductibles. That's for Cobra. I mean, it's good coverage, don't get me wrong, but freaking $24,000 a year. And I was like, the median household income in the US is $60,000. And for Cobra, I'm paying $24,000 a year. That's for copay and deductibles. So it's like $30,000. My man, Great Griff is here. My guitarist, there he goes. Said he'd take the 2,700. I don't know, man. I don't know. What you recommend for a single government pensioner of age 57 in a large traditional IRA? That's a good question, Second Life. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, because the issue is here, again, you're pulling taxes forward for you specifically if you're going to do like Roth IRA conversions and stuff. And like, what's the back end result? Well, there's no one at the back end to benefit from it, except maybe you in your future years. I don't know if that's worth it to do that. It's kind of the same thing as like, is it worth it to pull taxes forward to hopefully have less taxes in the future? If you're married, we know most likely that it won't be hopefully. Your surviving spouse will benefit from lower taxes in the future. If you're single, we just don't know the same thing. We don't know it. I don't know. I don't think I'd be doing Roth conversions. But I would be pulling money out of my IRA, I presume. But yeah, you got a pension too. Yeah, going back to drawback of a pension is you're going to be taxed. I mean, Social Security is going to be taxed at 85% for you because I already know you got a pension. You're going to already be the provisional income, so you're already going to put your Social Security at 100% taxable, which means 85% taxable. There's not much you can do from a tax planning perspective once you have a pension. I guess at the end of the day, just start pulling money out of your IRA now. That way you can delay taking Social Security until you're 70 because Social Security is still tax favorable. I mean, only 15 cents on the dollar still comes back at you tax free. That's the only thing I could recommend. You're in a good place. It's just from a tax planning perspective, not a whole lot of options for you. No, Jade, private pensions certainly have impact on Social Security benefits. Absolutely. You're replying to Gary. Okay, I didn't see that, but yeah, your private pensions absolutely. It depends. Let me just back up, and I know you're having a conversation with Gary on this. It depends on if you're talking about your taxation of Social Security benefits. Absolutely, they do. It turns on your private pensions in terms of your ability. With a WEP, a windfall elimination provision, private pensions don't. I can't imagine there's any private pension out there that's not part of Social Security anymore, or government pension offset. That's even not for you so much. But still, in terms of your taxation, private pensions absolutely have something to do with taxations. VULs, just not a fan of them. Just a variable universal life insurance policy. I just not a fan. Yeah, tax bomb. You're right. Here you go. Right on. You pay when you're willing, you don't pay. I don't know what. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay. Social Security is unaffected by pension income. Taxation of my Social Security is affected. Yeah, I'm 100% right. So taxation of Social Security is affected by all income for sure. Social Security is unaffected by pension income unless the pension income is through a pension like a teacher's in Texas or partly in Georgia where you were not paying into the Social Security and you have the windfall elimination provision for on your own benefit or the government pension, a government pension offset for survivor benefit or spousal benefit. Big A in the house. What's up? Nelson's in the house. Did children beneficiaries? No. All right. So do children beneficiaries of IRAs have to take their 100% share at once and pay in full. And no, I'm telling you, there are tons and tons and tons and tons of legislation that's always being flouted out there to make sure that children IRA beneficiaries have to take it out within 5 years or whatever. I mean, 5 years because they don't want those stretch IRAs to accumulate. IRS wants their money ASAP. And I absolutely think that'll be some rule in the future that children beneficiaries will have 5 years in which to exhaust inherited IRA in which to pay tax on. And that'll be for Roth IRAs too, I bet, without 100%. I can easily see that. Look, man, they got trillions of dollars in deferred accounts. When you die and leave it to your heirs, they still have required minimum distributions, but it's based on a younger life expectancy table, which means they can stretch it out longer. The politicians want that money now. And they're going to say, hey, look, we never intended the IRAs to be stretched over 2 or 3 lifetimes, generations. We want it to be over your lifetime as an individual retirement account for you. When you're dead, someone's got to pay tax on that. We don't want you to stretch it out for, little Joey and then little Joey. We want it to be paid out right. I could easily see 5 years and those things are taken out as lump sums, which would be a horrible effect on taxation. But right now, that's not the case. Wrinkle I thought of with defined benefit pension buyouts, you can't convert Roth unless you were buyout. Okay. I knew somebody that took the lump sum because he didn't think he was going to live that long, and 25 years later, he's now broke and living on. Yeah, that happens all the time, man. That's anecdotal. Great riff doesn't mean it's bad, right? It just means, yes, there's always an example. I knew someone who took the lump sum and made $3 million off $1 million. I mean, there's always these different cases. But yes, I mean, it's right. I mean, if the market is turned against you, you're in a world of hurt where the pension would have at least given you that $27.50 without knowing more of that stuff to say. Warren Buffett just found out about the mega by watching you with Dustin. Oh, man. Marie, what's up, man? You can't be late. Health insurance is preventing me from retiring early. Yeah. I've only heard that 1,000 times, man. I hear you, Robert. 10% fixed rate tax rate would be the best. Would you agree? Yeah. You think it's ever going to happen? Man, 10% fixed rate be awesome. Even 15, hell, 20%. Say, look, no more deductions for anybody. No more charitable deductions. No more nothing. You just pay. You make $100,000. You pay 20%. Send it in. You make $50,000. You pay 10%. Send it in. Anything else, you make $300,000. You pay 30%. Send it in. I mean, that way it can still be progressive tax rates. That way, there's no more deductions. It's just as simple as pie. Everyone pays a simple rate. Be done. Be fantastic, but it'll never happen. I invest in a defined comp plan. Deferred comp plan, but also Roth. Why don't you like the deferred? I don't have any problem with deferred comps. I mean, at the end of the day, do we really need to defer our compensation? I mean, it depends on your tax bracket today. If your tax bracket is typically above 24%, then yeah, you probably want to defer the comp. If your tax bracket is at 12%, why would you defer the comp? Just pay it now. You'll probably never be this low again. What I'm not clear? Okay. Yeah, we talked about that with a 5-year rule, Gary. Let's see, 2 separate checkout. Okay. Got to sign off right on, Rob. Post full video later. Garrett, okay. Welcome, Hillary. My man Phil's on house. Over 50 max out 403B and traditional IRA. What more to look to explore? Phil, you need to keep doing that, man. I don't know. I mean, it sounds good in theory. It's going to hit you on the back end when you start having mandatory distributions, really. So, I mean, look, I don't know what your tax bracket is. That's the issue. If you're in a 12%, even 22%, and you're married, I might think twice about maxing out 403Bs and traditional IRAs. I think I have to do other videos on this because I think a lot of people do that by default. And I'm not sure it's as big as benefits as you think. I don't know. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, where are you today relative to what we're deferring? If we're only deferring 12%, and the likelihood is we're going to be deferring 12% now to pay 22% on top of increasing Social Security taxes, on top of qualified dividends, on top of long-term capital gain taxes, on top of potentially net investment income taxes, on top of increasing Medicare premiums, I don't see deferring as a panacea by any stretch. That's for sure. And that's what you're doing. You're deferring by maxing out 403Bs and traditional IRAs, or my other guy said deferred comp. 16-year-old wants to put 2K in a Roth. I'm matching. I don't know which one's most aggressive. I do the total stock index. That's what I do. Sure, like Rex wanted that too. I still have growth stocks. How far from retirement should I be? Conservative stocks. I still have growth stocks. How far out from retirement should I be with Marie? I'm not sure. Combination, growth and so an SP 500. Okay, so Joe says got a whole life, 100,000 death benefit, $38 a month, 3,500 cash out can take us. Joe, if you're borrowing against a whole life policy, right now, I don't see any reason why to keep doing it. To be honest with you, I don't see that benefit at all. If you're already borrowed against the whole life, you only got 3,500 cash to pay off debt. You cancel that sucker, but don't cancel till you get your term. Get a term in place first for sure. All right, time check. Still 1-0 Bruins at 12:33 left. Whew, all right, my friends, I'm getting tired here. I think I'm going to get out of here. But Joe, I don't see a benefit of that whole life policy. I'd get the 250 20-year term at $23 a month to pay off your debt. That's what I'd do. All right, my friends. All right, here we go. Dublin Blue Tune. If I reach full retirement age, am I still working? What do you think of taking Social Security and investing it rather than waiting? I'm going to do a video on something like that with a calculation, a calculator I've got on that, because I think it's pretty interesting. Generally speaking, if you can get more than 4%, taking Social Security and investing, it makes sense. I'd probably say if you can, probably upwards of 5. If you can't get more than 4 or 5, I don't think I would, but I'll run some numbers. Hey, you got it, guys. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Gypsy Rose, Marie, all y'all, Susie D. Right on. And we'll see you guys next time. But thanks for being on here. Appreciate it. See you now.